Howdy, y'all. This is Proverbs 31 in the NIRV for October 31st, 2023. These are the sayings of King Lemuel. His mother taught them to him. These sayings came from God. Listen, my son. Listen, my very own son. Listen, you who are the answer to my prayers. Don't waste your strength on women. Don't waste it on those who destroy kings. Lemuel, it isn't good for kings to drink wine. It isn't good for rulers to long for beer. If they do, they might drink and forget what has been commanded. They might take away the rights of all those who are treated badly. Let beer be for those who are dying. Let wine be for those who are sad and troubled. Let them drink and forget how poor they are. Let them forget their suffering. Speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. Speak up for the rights of all those who are poor. Speak up and judge fairly. Speak up for the rights of those who are poor and needy. Who can find an excellent woman? She's worth far more than rubies. Her husband trusts her completely. She gives him all the important things he needs. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She chooses wool and flax. She loves to work with her hands. She's like the ships of the traders. She brings her food from far away. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family. She also gives some to her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. She uses some of the money she earns to plant a vineyard. She gets ready to work hard. Her arms are strong. She sees that her trading earns a lot of money. Her lamp doesn't go out at night. With one hand, she holds the wool. With the other, she spins the thread. She opens her arms to those who are poor. She reaches out her hands to those who are needy. When it snows, she's not afraid for her family. All of them are dressed in the finest clothes. She makes her own bed coverings. She's dressed in fine linen and purple clothes. Her husband is respected at the city gate. There he takes a seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen clothes and sells them. She supplies belts to the traders. She puts on strength and honor as if they were her clothes. She can laugh at the days that are coming. She speaks wisely. She teaches faithfully. She watches over family matters. She's busy all the time. Her children stand up and call her blessed. Her husband also rises up and he praises her. He says, "Many women do excellent things, but you are better than all the others." Charm can fool you. Beauty fades, but a woman who has respect for the Lord should be praised. Give her honor for all that her hands have done. Let everything she has done bring praise to her at the city gate. Said it before, right? Cringy statement to say, "Oh, boss babe," right? Boss chick. This is a biblical boss chick. This is what it really looks like. Food for thought. And the polar opposite of all the warnings we received, throughout the rest of the book of Proverbs on choosing a wife wisely, because one that complains, and can't be helped, can't be happy, is that's a harm, right? That's psychological harm. That doesn't do good to us all of our days. It's a burden and a heavy one. So, bottom line, you got all these characteristics of her, all these examples of basically good behavior, right? The fruit of faith, right? The fruit of the Spirit is works, essentially. Not the other way around. However, as far as criteria for choosing a wife, which it's funny, in this Facebook group, and man, it is just a traffic jam. You've got dudes who are overconfident in their answers. You've got dudes who have no answers. You've got guys who know the answers but can't live it out or don't want to live it out. It's kind of a mess, right? But part of the constant discussion is like, guys, how do I find a wife? Should I go to the gym? It's like, well, that one's not a great question, right? Because you might find a lady that you're attracted to and she's in the gym, so it indicates interest in discipline, physical conditioning, and those, right? It's kind of like it indicates in the same way, like That behavior indicates the internals. So if they're committed to keeping their body correct and to staying in good health, then them being in the gym is representative of that. So that's a good selection criteria. However, the gym, especially currently, is not a place to hit on people. And it could prove difficult to strike up a conversation to even get to the point of being, asking on a date, for instance. So not the best advice, right? But criteria. Charm can fool you, beauty fades, but a woman who has respect for the Lord should be praised. Give her honor for all that her hands have done. Let everything she has done bring her praise to her at the city gate. All right. 2 parts to this, right? Well, 3, but we're going to ignore the interpersonal part for the moment. Charm fools, beauty fades. So you've got girls who, especially with social media, are very schooled at the way to talk, present themselves, things to do. There's a current discussion about like 14-year-olds in Gen X and elder millennials, and then 14-year-olds now on TikTok. Like, big difference due to access and peer pressure, things like that. So the charm part can be trained, can be learned. Beauty, man, you're kind of blessed by God or you're not. But if watching too many memes and TikTok videos and stuff has taught me anything, it's there's a beautiful woman, right? And then there are women who are good looking, and then you put makeup on them, and ooh, that's beautiful. And then you've got ladies who are, let's say, mediocre to way down the scale, and they do this extreme form of makeup, right? Above and beyond, which as a guy, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of makeup on there. But no. Well, yes, but contouring is like all these different colors to get different shades and effects and trick our eyes into seeing like cheekbones where they're not, or suppressing them and things like that. It's wild. If you've never seen an example of that, I don't want to say look it up, because I don't want the algorithm to be like, show that person some contouring. But oh my gosh, you've got a person that looks like a giraffe, or like stripes all over them, and they smudge it all out. And you've got ladies that go from like no hair, no teeth, weird face, to, let's just say, a very attractive looking woman. And it's all fake. It's all fake. So you can learn to talk the talk. You can learn to walk the walk as far as the beauty goes, the world's desires. But you want a woman who has respect for the Lord, right? It's the same thing we talk about like every day on this channel doing this reading, is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of the wisdom. Respect for the Lord. When Jesus talks about being unequally yoked, this is what he means. You got to find somebody that has respect for the Lord. Ladies, dudes, either way, you got to both be on the same team, pulling towards the same goal. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be unpleasant. It's going to be restrictive. It's going to choke you. It's going to hurt you, right? Either one of you go the other way. It's going to hurt both of you. So it says, give her honor for all that her hands have done. I feel like that was what I was saying, the interpersonal part. However, criteria, let everything she has done bring praise to her at the city gate. A woman's reputation is the same as a man's, right? Oh, her? She's always out helping. She runs her own store. She goes to school. She works, this, that, whatever it may be. People know them and know their reputation. My lady was a server at a famous Cincinnati chili place for years and years. And people knew her, and they still in the community know her. Your reputation precedes you. How you present yourself, how you treat people, whether that seems authentic or just professional, that matters. And the same in the church. Does she help in the church? Is she known in the church? Is she liked? Are there, I don't want to say questions about her, The other thing, though, is I don't know that we can say, hey, go church hopping in order to find yourself a lady. But some of these guys are in extremely small congregations. And if the older people don't want to set them up with like a grandkid or something, like there's not going to be anything. So this is why getting out in the community matters, being out on mission, volunteering for mission things, not necessarily even Christian mission stuff, just community efforts, for the same reason. You're finding somebody who's got the same internal motivations that are driving them to go do that, right? And then hopefully you'll spark it off. Part of me wants to tell you the Lord will bring you the right person, and that's what a lot of people like to preach, right? Just wait, and the Lord will bring you the right man or the right woman and bring them into your life. I think that's true. On the other hand, I think that sermon is true too, that I mentioned the other day, where if the Lord doesn't choose salvation for you, the most important thing of all, and doesn't take free will from you for that, what makes you think he would choose a wife for you, or a spouse for you? So I know people like to talk about soulmates and we're meant to be together and all that. I don't know what I believe in a clear enough way to give a unambiguous statement, because I believe that can happen. By criteria, maybe you're with somebody that you wouldn't have chose by the criteria that you were measuring by, but the Lord had other intentions for you and for that person. And maybe that person wouldn't choose you for the criteria that they thought they would be choosing a mate for. But God brings people together to do, a work through them. However, there's an agency question, right? Could I have been like, nah, she's not the one? Because plenty of friends expressed opinions that, let's just say, not everybody was in favor of my relationship and my marriage, right? So if I had listened to those people, perhaps I would have judged on a different criteria, but would I have been within God's will? Is it possible, and this is part of the mystery, right, of not only predestination, but just free will and life on this realm? Can both exist? Right? So in whatever, Endgame, one of the Marvel movies, Doctor Strange looks into all possibilities, all possible futures, and says there's one way this can work. Is that how free will and the Lord being outside of time and outside of our realm work? There are a bajillion possibilities. That's what quantum theory tells us, right? But the observer, in the quantum theory case, and the one who acts in the life case, is the one that determines the path. And it's a matter of reducing uncertainty. You have all this possibility with it, all this uncertainty, but when you observe it or you pick a path, it all collapses into just that state. What? Yeah, I know. I'm struggling to make my point. Somebody out there gets it. I think it's possible for all these threads and endpoints to exist. And the Lord sees the heart of man, sees what we do, right? And it all works out for his glory. And we can choose to be in the will. We can choose to harden our heart. Either way, the story is going to play out. Exactly how each person's choose your own adventure plays out, well, that's on them. Both for the you reap what you sow and the eternal rewards we'll get or not, and just the act of making the cut and being in the book of life or not. I'll say it here. I was talking to my wife about something struck me in service. We have a friend, and we love her dearly. She's got 2 girls, and they I don't want to say believe, because I can't speak for them. We've spoken about, oh, we like the Norse legends. Well, okay, I'm okay, like, cool. I think that all these world traditions have kernels of the truth and a revelation behind them. Not all parts of it are true. Some of it's misinterpreted or missed or added to, much in the same way some of the church has gone sideways. But it struck me in service that, and we've talked on here about the afterlife, right? You're either in or you're out. You're either in the party or you're outside wishing you were in the party, because we're either with the Lord or we're away from the Lord. You can't have the party without the Lord, so you're outside, right? And Jesus talks about, like, narrow's the gate that can get us there. But it struck me that the parallel between those, right? Like, so where do you die if you do good in this life? If you're a mighty warrior and you have honor, right? You go to Valhalla. And what's going on there? A feast, man. A party, a feast, eating and drinking and merriment and celebrating the things that happened, right, in this life, and more in the next. So to me, it still points to the exact same outcome. Do good, be honorable, honor God, be humble, be brave, do your duty, which this chapter talks about being just in the things that you're supposed to do, right? Speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. Speak up for the rights of all those who are poor. Speak up and judge fairly. Speak up for the rights of those who are poor and needy. Right? So, in the same way, like, I think this stream that points towards, the feast of heaven, in that one, it's works-based, right? Whereas the Christian faith, it's faith and grace. It doesn't matter how good I am, brave, strong, whatever. I can't do it. I got to acknowledge God and accept grace, and then let my life be transformed over time, right? Both instantaneously, but over time, so that the Spirit does works out of me. But before the Mosaic Law, how were people saved is the wrong word, but when they died, how did they go to Abraham's bosom and not Hades, right? Which there's an argument to say they're the same thing, but it appears that people were in paradise and then people were basically in a not good place. Not hell and not hellfire, but like the land of the dead, right? The land of shades, Hades. So if there was no Mosaic law, how did those people go to heaven? The patriarchs, and we touched on this before. Abraham wasn't a Jew. So, like, how did they go to heaven? By being faithful, by doing the right things. And I can't say with certainty, I'm no authority, but my understanding is there was a whole set of people that were trying to do the right thing and to know God and to stay in communion with Him might be the wrong way, but like we knew the right teachings when we were in Eden and we were walking with God, right? So there were patriarchs through the stream of history, and all of those good people, there had to be like a way. And now, this clearly it's not good enough, especially with the revelation of Jesus, but for those who come up in a culture, live and die, and never hear about the grace of God through Jesus Christ, are they all doomed to hell? I don't think so. I'm no judge. I don't have any authority. I'm not speaking from authority that I can quote scripture to you right now, but it's worth me putting together to give this case with better accountability. So if you're watching this, I want to note the stream of truth, right? We're all just trying to get to the feast. We're all just trying to get to the party. And this was in context of Celebration Sunday. On Sunday, we have kind of mixed message, extra praise, like more praise, more prayer, some testimonies. We do baptisms, and then we were feasting afterwards together. So there were some words about feasting. I believe he made a quote. I can't think of the book, but it was about feasting and rejoicing in God. So, hope you make the cut. Say your prayers. It's the only way you will be able to live right. I don't know what else to say. This skin suit has made it around the sun 40 times, believe it or not, today. So, I'm going to take myself to the arcade. I left the house, I went and worked, and then I left the house with a little bit more coffee so I could do this, basically spend time doing this in the daytime instead of falling asleep and yawning and making weird noises and having back problems. Which is, it's embarrassing, but I'm trying to keep it real with y'all. Maybe one day I'll have my house together enough to have a small studio. We're working on it. But I got to write this down. I'm seeing it everywhere, but it indeed is the truth. C.S. Lewis said, kids aren't something that get in the way of the work. They are the important work. And that's why it may be an excuse. You say, Cheetah, that's whack. You can do it. There's plenty of things you think I could do, but like, I can't. I need a body double or something for my house because I need help. My kids are the most important thing. They need clean laundry. They need clean dishes. Y'all, when I say they constantly need fed, like anybody else's kids just eat. Just constantly. Especially the oldest. Like he eats, I fix a plate, I give him more food than I put for myself, and I still have to get him seconds half the time. What am I going to do? He's still single digits. How am I going to feed these kids? That's why when I say pray for me, man, there's so much behind the scenes prayer needed. Like, who child? Oh, man. And the comment I got that you said you were praying for me, if you see this, like, believe me, when I say that made my day, that made my day. So thank you to anybody who does take the time to pray for me. 40 years on the planet. Pray the Lord leaves me here for a little bit longer. Lord knows he doesn't want me following him around asking him questions like I did my parents when I was little and my kid does now. Because believe as soon as I'm there, I'm going to be tugging on his robes. Jesus, what about this? Jesus, what about that? Can we go ask Father about this? Jesus, why did you do this? Can you show me that? Can we take a trip out to Pluto? Jesus, can we do that? Do you think Pluto is a planet, Jesus? I can't wait. So until Jesus sees fit to take me home, I'm going to keep being my weird self. Be blessed. Have a great day. Happy Halloween. Don't be afraid of the boogeyman. Jesus is greater than everybody, and the blood covers us. Go out, dress up your kids, have fun. Don't worship the devil. It ain't about the devil. In Jesus' name, be blessed.